all of you, I'm sure, have found yourselves in. You're looking for a job, you send out 1 million resumes to potential employers, and then you just sit back and hope that one of them will choose you. But it's not that easy. They don't just choose you. They might love your resume, they might love how interested you are in their company, but at the end of the day, there's one last step of that process that's the most integral and big determinant of whether or not you'll get the job, and that's the interview. I'm so glad that all of you have made the decision to be here today and take control of your future by developing your interview skills. There are so many elements to the interview that most people don't really know about and that employers take heavily into consideration. So our goal for today is to address these fundamentals and help you develop your interviewing skills. After this, it's our hope that you'll all become interviewing experts and get every job that you apply for. So basically what I'm going to be doing here today is giving you a brief overview of the topics that are going to be discussed in the sessions provided today, and hopefully you can choose which kinds catch your interest the most and spend more time in those. So the 4 session topics that we have today will be resume and cover letter writing, how to dress for an interview, question and answer development, and how to talk about you. So let's begin with cover letters. Cover letters are extremely advantageous, and a lot of employers don't actually request them. So my suggestion to you is whether they ask for it or not, you should always send one in, because it shows that you're thinking ahead, and that it also gives them something else to look at besides just your resume. So for those of you who don't know, the purpose of a cover letter is to answer the question why you would be the best person for that job. So these are a few pointers on how to write a good cover letter. You don't want to repeat the information that you've already stated in your resume. Keep it short, address nobody, send us a PDF. Never use the phrase, my name is blank and I'm applying for blank, and you want to close strong. Don't repeat your resume because the point is to learn something new about you. You don't want to reiterate the same information. You want to keep it short and simple and get the reader really, really excited about who you are and what you could be for their company. When I say address nobody, if you don't know the specific name of the person who's going to be reading your cover letter, it's not good to say like, dear hiring manager, or to whom it may concern. Just start writing the letter. You want to send it as a PDF so that it can work with any sort of computer that they're using, Mac, PC, tablet, whatever. You don't want to use the phrase, my name is blank and I'm applying for the position of blank, because they already know who you are, and that's why you're applying for it, so just go ahead and tell them the information. And then you want to close strong and fast. Keep it short and sweet. Tell them how it is that your past experiences are going to help you be a good fit for that job, and then just be done with it. So now let's talk about what you're going to wear. Your appearance is the first initial impression that an interviewer is going to have of you, so it's really important to make sure that you look your best, because that's going to say a lot. So for guys, it's very simple. Buy a suit, wear it. That's it. Make sure you wear dress shoes too, because you'll look very professional, and that's really important to them. For women, it's a little bit more difficult because you have a lot more options. So on the top, side note, also, there's a difference between looking fashionable and professional, and for girls and for guys too, it's definitely more important to try and look professional. They don't care if you're wearing the latest trends or have really high heel shoes on and look cute. You want to make sure that you look professional and presentable. So back to girls, an Oxford top, a nice top, sweater, or blazer is good. Nothing too tight or low cut. For the bottom, you should wear slacks or a skirt. Again, nothing too tight. Skirt should probably go around your knees. As for shoes, you want to wear flat loafers, boots, or low heels. Again, with the high heels, that's a huge turnoff. I can't tell you how many employers have said how much they hate seeing girls walking around in these high heels that they can't actually walk around in. Then you want to make sure that your hair is back and you have conservative, not distracting, flashy jewelry. Make sure your makeup is natural. You don't want to look like a clown, because the point of looking nice is so that they can take you seriously, and that's all you really want. So this is an example of how you should look, guys on the left, girls on the right. So obviously interviewing involves a lot of questions, back and forth questioning and response, And people find this to be so challenging because you never really know what sort of questions are going to be asked. I recently had an interview where I was asked if I could be any candy, what would it be and why? I was so thrown by this question because it literally had nothing to do with the job position that I was looking for or even the company itself. So they ask you these sorts of questions because they want to keep you on your toes and they want to see how you handle yourselves under pressure situations. So here are a few tips that will hopefully help you handle yourself when it comes to tough questions and mentally prepare for yourself before you go into an interview. You want to speak clearly and have an even tone, but you also want to show that, have your tone show your interest and your enthusiasm for being there. Don't answer questions immediately. Take time to think about the question, what it's asking, and then develop a well-rounded answer. Listen carefully to the questions being asked and make sure that you let the interviewer be in control of the interview. You don't want to let this be your moment to shine by totally bombarding the interview. Also, you don't want to badmouth past employers or places of employment. You might think, you may have had a really bad experience in your past, but by bad-mouthing them, it really makes it seem as though you have a bad attitude and you wouldn't be a good fit for them. And lastly, when you're giving stories about your past experiences, make sure you include those stories. Or when you're giving examples, make sure you use stories. Finally, there's the aspect of talking about yourself. Inevitably, the entire interview is going to be about you, but few people really know how to effectively speak about themselves. The way you speak about yourself can be perceived on a variety of a spectrum. So if you don't talk about yourself enough and underplay who you are as a person, you're going to come off as having a lack of confidence or be really timid, and that's not good. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you might seem really self-involved or cocky, and that's definitely not good. So here are a few pointers about how to talk about yourself. You don't want to use phrases like I think, I find, I know, because using that I is very monotonous for the interviewer and it lacks creativity, and it also shows you as being very self-absorbed. You don't want to use precursors in your statements by saying something like, it's not that big of a deal, but I used to blah, 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 or something like that, because you think you're underplaying your actions from past experiences, but really it just makes you seem like you have a big ego. And then, like I said before, always use examples. It's easy to say, I'm a hard worker or I'm very organized, but if you don't have stories to back that up and say, I'm really organized, I organized this fundraiser and it was really successful because I maintained everything really well or whatever like that. So these are some things to keep in mind. So my hope is for you that this was extremely helpful and that it sparked your interest in some of these topics. As I said before, the interview is a hugely integral part of the job hiring process, and by going over, by learning more about question and answering development and what to wear to an interview and how to talk about yourself properly, I hope that all of you will become even better interviewers, and good luck to you all.